Hi, in this video, we are going to talk about if statements with more than one logical statement. And these logical statements have to sort of like combine in order to determine whether you get a true or a false. So to start, so for example here, I have this column that I want to put either yes or no. And the condition is that if the total sales is above 100,000, and the hours rendered is less than 100, then indicator as yes, otherwise no. So the idea here is that we have to satisfy the two conditions. Sales is above 100,000 and the hours rendered is less than 100 before we get the yes. So for that, we have to start with if, because this is a logical statement in the first place. So if, and then since we have two logical tests, we have to use the function AND. So the purpose of the function AND is to combine logical tests together. So the first logical test is that if B4 is above or greater than 100,000. So that's just our first logic. And then comma, we then need to input the next logic. So if it is C4 is less than 100, that's our next logical test. So because they are combined with the function AND, then both conditions have to be satisfied in order to get the true, which is, in this case, based on the instruction, a yes. If not, it's going to be a no. So it's simple yes or no logic. So there you go. That's how to combine logical tests. So here, both of these conditions have to be satisfied. You could actually have more than one condition if you need to. Okay, so you can have up to 30 logical tests. And there you have it. So let's see. So this person here, for example, in row 6, has sales that are more than 100,000. But since the hours rendered is not less than 100, as our logic requires us, then we're getting a no. And here's one that got a yes. And as you could see, that person has more than 100,000 sales. And that person also has less than 100 for the hours rendered. Therefore, getting the true answer. So that's just one of the ways to combine logical tests together. Another reason, okay, or another way to combine logical tests is by using the OR statement. So if the AND function allows us to combine logical tests and requires all conditions or both conditions to be satisfied, the OR function only requires one condition to be satisfied. So for example, here in this next worksheet, we have to indicate here the word success if at least one of the quarters is above 90. Otherwise, we leave it blank. So for this, we start with if. And then since we only are required to satisfy just one of the quarters to be above 90, then we have to use the function OR. Now within that OR function, we have to write the logical tests. So first, we get B4 is greater than 90. That's the first possible logical test that can be true to get the yes. So the next one is if C4 is greater than 90. The next one is if its D4 is greater than 90. And finally, if E4 is greater than 90. So as you can see here, we have four possible answers, okay, or logical tests. And comma, if ever any one of them is true, then we put the word success. If not, we leave it blank. So we just put two quotation marks with nothing in between to indicate that we're looking for a blank for an answer. So let's see, enter. And we got the word success here because one of the values, this one, is above 90. On the other hand, the second row did not get any word, okay, just got the blank because the second row doesn't have any value that is greater than 90. So as you could see, one cell greater than 90 is more than enough to satisfy the condition of OR. And that's the difference of and OR. Now, you could also create a logical statement that combines them. For example, in P5 or in this next tab, I have here an instruction that we have to put the word complete based on these requirements. Number one, if there is a passport submitted or ID for proof of identification, if there's an ITR or an income tax return or payslip for proof of income and an application form. So assuming that this is like a list of requirements and you want to check who among them already completed the requirements. So we start with if, and since this is a list of requirements, meaning all conditions have to be satisfied, we have to put and as our primary operator. So the first test that we have to ask, okay, the function is that if the value of B4, the application form, is equal to the word yes. So no questions asked. You have to submit this. This is something required. Therefore, it's something that you have to put inside the end function. On the other hand, we have options for the proof of identification. It's either the person submits a passport or an ID. So in that case, we have to use or. And take note, this is happening inside the end statement. So my first possibility is that if cell C4 is equal to yes, it's also possible that D4 is equal to yes. So if any of these two, C4 is yes, D4 is yes, becomes true, then we satisfy the condition of proof of identity for the end function. But we're not yet done because we still have another requirement, and that is the proof of income. So the proof of income, we also have two options. It's either ITR or payslip. So we have to use or in this case. So or, and then we get the value here. So E4 is equal to yes. And then F4 is also equal to yes. So now we've completed our logic. So it's either this one, okay, has to be satisfied. So this one is required. This is our first requirement. Our second requirement is this one. It's either C4 is yes or D4 is yes. And then our third requirement is that if E4 or F4 is yes. So we have to satisfy all of them because we have the end function requiring us to do so. All right. But even if all of them are inside the end function, the fact that C4 and D4 are being combined by OR, it means that just one of them will do. Same here. So we have the proof of income, okay, in one OR statement. And of course, we're done with our logic. It's now time to bring in our true, which is we have to put the word complete. And if it's not, okay, so we still have, let's say, missing requirements. And that's it. Enter. Then double click or drag. And as you could see, only one of them have completed the requirement. Only one of them has an application form, either a passport or UMID or ID, and an ITR or payslip. The others, they're missing one K of the set of requirements that we have. And that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.